Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the regular City Council meeting of July 15th to order. This regular meeting, let the record reflect, all council members are present tonight. Votes this evening will be recorded using the city's electronic voting system. Public session. At this time, the City Council will convene to consider public matters. If you wish to speak, please fill out a blue speaker card and provide it to our city clerk. And if you wish to submit any written materials, please provide those to the city clerk and they'll be distributed to the City Council. As required by law, when speaking on an item listed on the agenda, limit your comments to the subject on the item. If you wish to speak on a subject not listed on the agenda, you may speak under public comments portion of the meeting. Finally, please address your comments to the City Council. Staff will not respond to questions from the City Council, not the public speakers. Staff will only respond to us, and so direct it to us. And tonight's invocation will be provided by Vanessa Howard, South County Outreach. Vanessa, where are you? Please bring the Spirit of God into us.
It would be my pleasure. Thank you so much, Mayor Voights, Mayor Pro Tem Pequeño, City Council, City Manager, thank you so much. City staff, thank you so much for having me back again today. Grateful to be here and absolutely love praying over this meeting. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you with gratitude for this city and for those who serve it with diligence and care. Thank you, God, for the men and women who lead, protect, and support the people of Lake Forest, both in visible roles and behind the scenes. God bless them and their loved ones with health, peace, and encouragement. And we ask for your guidance tonight as decisions are made that impact our neighborhoods, families, and future. Grant wisdom that is grounded in truth, patience, and in the midst of complexity, God, a shared desire for the common good. May the conversations here be marked by mutual respect and thoughtful cooperation. Lord, bless this meeting with your presence. May it reflect the best of who we are as a community, diverse yet united, passionate yet respectful, and always striving forward with what is just and right. We offer this prayer in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Vanessa, thank you. That was beautiful. You are salt and light to everybody you run into. Thank you. So tonight's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Cub Scout Pack and Troop 4321, and I see they're up in the front row. Come on up, guys. United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to invite you guys all up to get a picture with us. Please come over to the side over here. Thank you, Mark. So guys, you know, we start with prayer because all things go through God, but we live in the greatest nation in the world, and our flag is a symbol of freedom around the world. So thank you so much for honoring us and saying the wonderful pledge. Thank you so much. Let's get a picture. So that brings us to presentations, items 1 through 3. Do I have a motion and a second for?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, please read item title number 1.
Yes,
cast your
Mayor.
votes, yeah.
We are casting a vote right now. I am waiting on one more vote for that motion. Thank you. And presentations have been passed unanimously, and the title for item number 1 is Recognition of Volunteers in Parks Program Participants.
Do we have any public comments for this?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. So that brings us to, Madam City, or that brings us to presentations. Do we have a presentation for this?
We do, Mayor. I'd like to invite Peggy Samantha, our management assistant from the Public Works Department, to provide an overview of this item.
Good evening, Mayor Voights and City Council members. Tonight, the City Council is recognizing the Volunteers in Parks Program participants for 24-25. This is the 4th year of the program. The City Council directed staff to create the Volunteers in Parks Program, which began in August of 2021. Park inspection surveys are submitted quarterly via mobile devices by engaged volunteers, most of whom have chosen to continue their service into 25-26. 2 new volunteers joined the program in 24-25. A list of interested residents is actively maintained. This pool of potential volunteers is used to fill positions as parks become available, ensuring consistent coverage and minimal disruption to inspection schedules. The Volunteers in Parks program continues to be highly successful, providing the additional eyes and ears necessary to enhance the safety, cleanliness, and overall quality of our city parks. Volunteer observations play a critical role in identifying maintenance needs, safety hazards, and opportunities for improvement. We deeply value the time, commitment, and dedication of our volunteers. Their contributions have made a meaningful difference in maintaining the high standards of our park system. As a gesture of appreciation, we would like to recognize and honor their service to the community. The following VIP participants could not attend tonight's meeting: Larry Arthur, David Antonisi, Debbie Antonisi, David Frankeny, Rich Hobson, Jean Kula, Alexis Veal, and Hoi Vong. The Volunteers in Park participants who are here this evening, and we would like to invite them up to the podium for their certificate and a group photo with the City Council are Derek Barraza, Sean Fletcher, Diane Hanks, Loretta Heron, Anil Patel, Alan Phillips, Sue Reese, Mark Ryan, Suzanne Ryan, and John Worth. This concludes my presentation. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I do have a question. So, of the parks that we have, do we have volunteers that actually monitor each of the parks that
Yes.
are involved?
Yes, we do.
Do we do? So then, do we have any other further council? No? Yeah, let's get ahead. Thank you guys for being involved. Please come up here and we'll get a picture with you. Loretta, come on over here in the middle. So, you know, we value our time on city council, but it's nice to see that people are willing to roll up their sleeves and get involved with the city, whether it be our search program or Clean Lake Forest. Sean, do you have the cleanest park in Lake Forest? So, or get involved with, or just walking our streets with our trash walkers. And so we have opportunities to get involved, and these people have got involved to help keep our parks pristine. We love our parks in Lake Forest, and so we want to say that you guys have helped so much. Thank you so much for your involvement, and I think that they deserve this and much more. So a little bit of gratitude that we give them is a certificate, but a round of applause. Thank you, guys. And if If there's anybody watching that wants to get involved with the city, we have a search program coming up in September. Get involved with our certified emergency response team. The fact is that we all live in Southern California. There's going to be an earthquake. Please get involved with us and join us with search. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, please read the title of item number 2.
Yes, Mayor, the title of item number 2 is the update on the new city website and Ask Lake Forest system.
Madam City Manager, please introduce the item.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight we have a presentation from our Communications and Marketing Manager, Jonathan Volsky. He'll be coming up to the podium to provide that now.
Thank you, City Manager Mayor. Honorable Mayor Voigt, City Council, as City Manager Rose said, I am Jonathan Volsky, your Communications Marketing Manager, and I'm part of the team working on our new city website. This is the current website. We average about 47,000 visitors a month on our website. A very robust part of our outreach and communications strategy. In December 2024, we entered a contract with Revise. Revise was selected after a robust RFP process. Revise focuses mainly on, or in fact focuses extensively on government agencies, and they've built about 3,600 websites across the country for agencies. Staff throughout the city looked at websites from agencies across the country on behalf of Revise, came up with items we liked, different features that we liked on websites. We sent those to Revise. Revise came back with some preliminary designs, and then staff provided feedback for the final page designs. And our goal, of course, is to ensure that residents can find information easily, especially calendar and special events. As you recall, we did some focus groups earlier in the year. Those focus groups came back and said they really love our special events. Sometimes they have trouble keeping track of them when they are, so we're really making sure that the new website emphasizes the calendar and special events. So this is the new design of our homepage. The migration is done. These are in our hands now for starting corrections and the quality assurance. On the left there, my left, you'll see that's the entire page. It's longer, so I've broken it in 3 parts as we go through it. One of the first things you'll notice right off the bat is that central search bar. That's new. Our old website, it was sort of up in the corner, so this right away, how can we help you? The translation services, the previous website offered 4 languages. This offers virtually every language you can think of. So we're excited about that. It has the urgent message off on, so we can put that warning bar across the top in case of fire or other emergencies. And then down at the bottom, you'll see there's visual markers for key searches and things that we know people are really looking for. So we think that's another great addition. This is the center of the home page. So there's the calendar and special events section that I talked about, so much more prominent than in the previous website. You have the month view, and then you have the things coming up, and of course nothing more important than the city council meetings that you see there. And also this weekend's events of the wildfire pop-up that we have coming, Councilman Serbo. Down at the bottom, latest news. We think this is a much improved look over the current website. It didn't really have the photographs there. We know that photographs draw people's attention, so we expect that we'll get even more traffic to that section of the website. Then down at the bottom, there's actually the city statistics, which we think is fun. When people come to our website, they can get those quick details and then click on that for more details about the city and all the work that we do that we're proud of. And down in the left-hand corner, and this came up in the focus groups, are easy sign-ups for some of our Lake Forest e-newsletters. So we have a city e-newsletter that we put out once a month. Bella from our team takes care of that, does a great job. Economic Development puts out a great economic development newsletter, e-newsletter. And then we're also considering, based on the feedback from the focus group, of creating a special events e-newsletter. So this is where people would go, be able to sign up and get the information tailored, emailed directly to them. This is a video of a scroll of the page, I believe, if it works. May not work. but more of the great page. We'll also be able to put videos behind that page and change those photographs out. So, oh, here's the scroll. So that's just an overview of how the page will look when a visitor comes and can scroll the entire page. This is the interior page. Again, I think as we've been looking at it inside, just a much easier to read, much brighter pages. What I like about these is on the left side there, you see the related pages. So even though this is an interior page of the Finance Department, all the information linked to the Finance Department's there on the left. Again, really promoting transparency and making sure residents can find what they're looking for. So here's a scroll of this entire page. And again, the goal is make sure we're meeting our city strategic plan goals of being transparent with residents and engaging them. Public Works, this is the department page. So the neat thing here is every department, of course, will have its page. Each department can have its own calendar. So if different things are coming up in Public Works, street projects, for example, we do such a great job with our slurry seals, they can put it on their calendar page, and then that all feeds into the main calendar. So we think that the overall calendar process is going to be much more robust because each department will be focused on its calendar, and that all pulls into the home page. And I do want to assure you that the new logo will be prominent on the website. This was built as we were developing the logo, so you'll see the new logo on the website. But again, we know what residents look for when they come to the website. We have those statistics, and we have it there so they can find it easily. Of course, a companion of our website is the Ask Lake Forest system. Our library of Ask Lake Forest tickets right now, we've got 16,267 tickets. The actual number's higher now. I did this last week, dating back to 2015. Last year, 2024, we had 3,862 tickets. So far, we're on about pace, 1,885. Revise has their own mobile app and their own public service request system, so their own ALF system. Some of the advantages of the new public service request system, as they call it, or the new ALF, is the mapping is much more robust. So if you've used our ALF system and you look at the maps, sometimes it's not as robust as we'd like or detailed. This is much more robust, and when a resident goes to report something here, whether it's graffiti or parking, which are two of our highest ALF tickets, they can see if it's already been reported. So if there's some graffiti on a trail, for example, they look, they go to the ALF, they start to report it, it'll show them that it's already been reported. So they can then submit their own report if they'd like, or they can just kind of click a like button and let us know that more than one person has seen it, or they can just know that we've got that ticket already. There's the blue bar here, and it's not as robust, but the blue bar on the left where you see the reported tickets, that actually also kind of keeps account of how many tickets the city has open and has closed. So that'll give residents also an idea of just the flow coming in and how responsive we are to the tickets. So our next steps, the new website's scheduled to come online in mid-August, and as I said, staff's about to start combing through it and really make sure it's ready for its debut. The app and the ALF system will follow that website launch, and that's a lot of it. I was talking to Revise just today, and they said the Apple Store has been a little slow. So we're going to start by using both systems. So if people are comfortable putting in tickets on the system now, when we get that ticket, we'll respond to that ticket and address the issue. We'll also email that person back with a link to the new system. So we think there'll be some overlap. We can also email everybody who submits an ALF. We capture their email address, so we'll send an email to every ALF user we have, letting them know we have the new system online. And then we can actually also do a push notification through the existing app to everyone using it, saying we have this new and improved app system. So we're really going to make sure the new ALF system's ready for the public to take on those big numbers, and we'll just walk it slowly until both systems are up and running at the new system's up and running at its best potential. And I'm here for any questions, any comments you have.
I'm going to, Jonathan, do we have any public speakers?
We do not, Mayor.
Okay, bring it back to council. Do you have any questions? Okay, Councilman Teddemer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question to follow up on this. We have a parallel track of Revise and ALF.
Yes.
Is the intent to either merge or phase one out? What's the longer term?
Our intent, the current ALF is run by Tyler, and it's been a good system, but our intent is to move everything over to the revised system with that request system. And when we see the ticket numbers drop off dramatically on the existing system and move on to the new system, then we can shut that down.
So the response from an ALF ticket would be to say, thank you, and by the way, in the future, please move this direction. That's the overall intent. May take a while to get there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it'll, thank you, here's how we've addressed your issue, and in the future, please use this new system.
Okay. It'd be nice to come up with a fun name, because ALF is just a great name for a system. It worked out well, but I'm sure
We can
there'll be
stick with ALF.
some-
We're
come up with
making a
something.
lot of changes. We can stay with ALF, and I know it's special to our city manager, Rose, as well, so
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Jonathan, great presentation. I'm excited about the new website. You do a great job with what you have right now and putting all of our notices out, all of our updates, and all our film production crew that you have. You're doing a great job for us. When do you think the rollout will be for the new website to be online?
Mid-August at the latest, and revised, we were talking today, we think we can hit sooner. It's just going to be our comfort level of going through, there's more than about 2,000 pages, making sure the information's accurate, making sure the photos are their best, making sure everything's centered and lined up. So they've basically just migrated our old site over to the new format, and so we'll ask, we've had a great committee of people from almost every department in the city. We'll ask them all to take a look and really make sure, try to break it, right? That's what we're going to try to do for the first week or so, try to find out any weaknesses in the system and make sure that they're addressed before we put it out for public consumption.
So Jonathan, if you're going to send it out to staff, send it out to us as council that we can take a look at it too, because it looks beautiful. I'm excited about it, and I thank you for a job well done.
Thank you.
Nothing further. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So that brings us to item number 3, and I'm excited about this. So Madam Clerk, please read the title of item number 3.
Thank you, Mayor. The title of item number 3 is Taste of Lake Forest Returns.
Madam City Manager, please hit this one out of the ballpark. This is going to be fun.
All right, so we have our Economic Development and Housing Manager, Adrian Grijalva, here to provide an update on the upcoming Taste of Lake Forest 2.0.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight I have a very brief presentation regarding this year's Taste of Lake Forest. The Taste returned last year at Heritage Hill Historical Park, and the event serves as a platform for local restaurants to showcase their culinary offerings for the community to experience the diverse flavors of Lake Forest's dining scene. The 2025 event is co-hosted by the Lake Forest Chamber of Commerce and sponsored by Orange County 3rd District Supervisor Donald Wagner's office, as well as OC Parks. Further sponsorship opportunities are available and can be found at the application, the application can be found at the event's webpage. The Taste of Lake Forest will return once again on Friday, August 15th at Heritage Hill Historical Park. The event will be from 4 to 7:30 p.m., and the event will feature 25 local restaurants to sample from, a beer and wine garden, and live music by The Trip. We're excited to preview a list of restaurants set to participate in this year's event. They include A Little Something Sweet, Aroma Pizza and Pasta, Board and Brew, Boba Bee, Bolista, Brizio, Cafe Rio, Crimson Coward, Crumble Cookies, De Lucia's, Handles, Inca Mamas, Kebab Planet, La Tia Tacos, Mamon, Morena's, Pete's Coffee, Presto Tea, Shanghai House, Sunny Dumpling House, Taste Catering, Teriyaki Madness, Yubapshi, Uma's Korean Barbecue, and Urban Grill and Wine Bar. The event will be restricted for those who are 18 and older, and tickets are $50 per person and can be purchased at tasteoflf.com by clicking on the ticket portal button or by scanning the QR code on screen. I'm going to go ahead and show a couple of reels for this year's event before I conclude my presentation.
Hello, we are Ubabci Polish Kitchen. Babcia means grandma. This is the chef. This is the authentic babcia from Poland, and we will be at Taste of Lake Forest.
Witamy i zapraszamy.
We'll be serving pierogi, kielbasa, and many other foods. Come join us.
Lake Forest, let's get ready!
And I'm Xavier with Cafe Rio, and we are super excited to bring the fiesta to the Taste of Lake Forest this coming Friday, August the 15th.
That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to check, do we have any public comments for this?
We do not, Mayor.
Okay, bring it back to council. Adrian, for the $50, what do they get, and do they get, how much food do they get out of that? And do they get to try all the restaurants that are there?
Yes, so you get admission to the event, which includes one sample from each participating restaurant. Beer and wine is sold separately.
Okay. So the band this year, obviously, we were rocking out, and days of old, we used to do it in the Foothill parking lot on the hot asphalt. So this is a lot better because we have the shade of the trees and the environment of Heritage Hill Historical Park. So I want to encourage everybody coming out. Thank you, Adriana, for a great presentation, and I'm excited about the Taste of Lake Forest 2025. Thank you. Wait, are all the restaurant spots filled up now?
They are. They're all filled up.
Okay. Well, thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, please fill out a blue speaker card and give it to the city clerk with your name will be called. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. The council staff will not respond to questions or comments during the public comment period. If you leave your contact information, staff will contact you to address the issues that you raised during your comment. When you are called, come to the podium. Your 3 minutes will begin when the green light is on. The green light will remain on for 2 minutes. When the light changes from green to yellow, speakers have 1 minute left to conclude their comments. When the light changes from yellow to red, conclude your thoughts and return to your seat. A timer is not displayed on the screen, so the light is your timer. Madam Clerk, have we received any public comments?
Yes, we have, Mayor. We have 10 general public commenters. Our first public commenter is Mark Hermanson.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, my wife and I would both like to kind of speak on the same issue, if we could combine and be together.
You could do it together. Did you both fill out question things?
And if I may, I do have a couple of pictures I'd like to take to you.
All right, I will let you do that. And so you want to do it together, separately, or together as?
Whichever way, if we do it together, we could probably wrap it up in 4 minutes for you and save time.
I will give you that then. Thank you.
Thank you, City Council, to have us here tonight. We all live up on Saddle Ranch in Malabar, and the first picture I handed up there is a beautiful section in front of our condo complex. We're not allowed to park in. It's a space for about 13 cars. The second picture on there shows about a half mile of walking up the street, then up a hill, which is on a 33-degree incline. That half mile has been conceded to a homeowners association as permit parking because they complained about the condos where we live. I can tell you, when it's 100 degrees outside or pouring with rain, and you have to walk up to your vehicle a half mile up a hill, it's not very enjoyable. We have tried talking to this HOA when we had our asphalt done and asked them, can we park here for 2 days without being towed? And their answer is, we're the HOA. No. So we have this nice section we can't park, and then we have a half mile of public street that is only permit parking. Now, I'll tell you, these people are all about law and order because they are on the email and the phone to the sheriffs. If you dare have your car parked up the hill more than 3 days without moving it, we can't even take vacations. unless we have somebody to move our vehicle. But to add some insult to injury, when you look on those photos, within that permit parking, the laws don't seem to apply to them. I found out there's an ordinance in Lake Forest that if you disconnect a trailer, you have 2.5 to 3 hours. It has to be reconnected or moved. They leave their trailers there 3, 4, 5, 6 days. One of the residents has a bus, a camper full-size bus. It sits there for 3 weeks. Laws don't apply. When you go up to that hill, we have an unhinged homeowner with vehicles being damaged. I've had $1,000 in damage to my vehicle in the past 3 weeks. We've had fecal matter put on vehicles, windows smashed out, cars hit. We all thought it was kids, but it's really looking like somebody who is unhinged. But to add the biggest insult to injury to us, the areas we are not allowed to park in, when there is a school event, they all park there. You can see from the pictures. And we have watched officer after officer just drive by and look the other way while we're paying for tickets. We have gone to the city, we have tried to speak to people, and I have not been blown off that much since I asked out the prom queen in 1984. It's time for that permit parking to be removed. It's an insult to all of us living there. We know parking is a premium, and I don't know how much value it adds to their home having their own private road, but we need places to park. And I would invite any of you to come join us and walk up that hill in the morning when it's 90 degrees, because you're going to work sweaty that night. And I do appreciate your time, but we're really asking, it's not a matter of if this is going to blow up with the damage to the vehicles, this is going to boil over.
So, conclude your comments, and you left your name and number there. Have you
Yes, sir.
contacted the city prior to this?
We have tried, and it's just been a blow
All
off. We
right.
can't get any
So
information.
we have your contact information. We'll have someone get back to you. Maybe one of us will get back to you too, but the fact that thank you for bringing it to our attention, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thanks, sir. If I may, my wife did want to make one little comment.
All right.
When you're talking about the parks and how beautiful they are, we've actually donated and purchased trees to be there to recognize her brother who passed away. We're hoping that our sheriffs can do something about the vandalism.
All right.
The trees have been destroyed and knocked down.
We're going to need to conclude your comments. I gave you extra time. Thank you so
sir. I
much.
do apologize.
Mayor, if I had a moment, please.
Yes, please.
Thanks very much for giving us this information and this report of what's going on, so your feet on the street. Without any kind of a back and forth, I'd like to engage our city manager, who has a lot of history about this situation. It's been a bone of contention in Portola, where I live up there, and my wife has been a crossing guard at Portola Hills for 25 years and whatnot, so very familiar with that particular stretch. But I'd like to see if our city manager could give us just a kind of a brief history on the evolution of the parking permit and the space that was dedicated and the back and forth that's occurred, please.
Certainly. This started about 20 years ago when the residents along Malabar came to the council with pictures showing the street lined with cars. Many of those cars were people who lived in the condo complex adjacent that were not able to park their own vehicles in the space allotted within the condo complex. So they either had additional vehicles or there was not enough spots for a variety of reasons. And so the neighborhood came to the city because they said their streets weren't being swept. It was difficult to put their trash out. When they had service people coming to their homes, there was nowhere to park. And we did do a study on it, and it was true that it was bumper to bumper parked pretty much all the time. And we did a license plate check, and many of those vehicles were coming out of the condo complex. And so we had a meeting, and ultimately we came up with this permit parking. And so neighborhoods now, if there is a parking issue, especially when there is a multifamily adjacent to a single family, if there is an issue with streets not being swept, we could look at putting in permit parking on street sweeping days and so forth. But this Malabar parking has been in place for 20 years. And it was a compromise with the HOA to allow that open stretch. They felt very strongly that they wanted to have an open space leading into their neighborhood. And it's pretty much been untouched since that 20 years. But I do realize there's two sides to every story, and there's, impacts on both sides.
Ultimately, the responsibility of those parking issues falls back on the city. We trump the
Correct.
HOA, is that correct?
Correct. So if there's an issue with enforcement, we do have staff, people on staff now that are doing parking enforcement in addition to the sheriff's department. So if there are issues of non-enforcement, we can certainly take a look at that, and we can direct our parking folks to take more care in that area, certainly.
Okay, thanks. So Mark, bring this to our attention tonight, and you've got the mayor's commitment that we've got your
No, we're not going to have back and forth.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't, that's not the forum for able to do this. So you've given us your information, and we're going to be in contact with you as the mayor's committed to, and see if we can't come to a new understanding and help resolve this. But it's parking, obviously, is the number one issue we have in the city. So it's a difficult situation, but we'll try and come up with some answers and different solutions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next public commenter is Mike Davison.
I would like to express concerns about the recent escalations in the illegal attacks on California residents by the federal government posing as peace officers. Increasingly, these unidentified masked people are demonstrating that they can violate California and federal law with impunity. I'm talking here about the harassment and arrests made by masked, unidentified people without warrants or legal basis. Our city needs a strategic plan for dealing with this. I would propose that we have town hall meetings with presentations from local authorities to discuss this topic with our residents. I suggest that this includes the position of the city and the Orange County Sheriff's Department on addressing these illegal actions of federal agents. Basically, if we call 911 when you observe illegal activity of these agents, will local police officers show up, defend residents, and arrest any agents acting illegally? For large-scale operations, can they call and expect backup from nearby cities and counties? B, a legal discussion on the state and federal penal codes governing peace officers. C, a legal discussion on the rights of residents. D, discuss how we can work together to ensure the safety of residents against illegal harassment and arrests. And E, if we are not already doing so, we should build relationships with other cities and counties in addressing illegal actions by ICE. As in all trying times, we are strongest when we stand together and support each other. State and local laws and their enforcement act as checks on federal overreach. Our city's law enforcement has a great relationship with our community. Let's build upon our strong bonds and mutual respect. We are California strong. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Our next public commenter is Jay Cost.
Hello.
Good evening.
Thank you for listening. I'm here as a Lake Forest resident to share my concerns and hopes regarding my city's current and/or future involvement with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, their harassment of California residents. I hope that you can allay my fears by confirming your support for all Lake Forest residents and workers and commit to not participating in the activities of ICE as performed under the Trump administration. Does the City of Lake Forest or the Orange County Sheriff's Department have or plan to have memorandums of agreement or contracts with ICE? I hope not. My concerns are, one, that could subordinate the sheriff's staff and officers to the desires of ICE while decreasing the time and resources paid for by Orange County residents. And two, and most importantly, our local cities should not be participating in terrorizing the peaceful, law-abiding residents and businesses in our city. It's been well documented how the fear and intimidation tactics of ICE have affected small businesses by diminishing both customer and employee attendance. Attendance by people who are legal residents but whom fear the indiscriminate Gestapo tactics of ICE. ICE has targeted workers in agricultural fields, workers in construction, industries important to our city and the state. They've even targeted people in churches. These targets of ICE are not violent criminals. The definition of terrorism from Google AI is the use of violence or the threat of violence, often against civilians, to instill fear and achieve political or ideological goals. It often targets non-combatants to create a climate of fear and insecurity. If ICE were deporting violent criminals and gang members, I'd be supportive. But it is actually domestic terrorism to violently attack, chase down men near a Home Depot or elsewhere who are willing to help local folks like me, a 76-year-old guy who needs help to move a refrigerator up or downstairs. The people targeted by ICE are good people, hardworking, pay taxes, pay rent, and participate in and boost our economy. I'm not particularly religious, but it feels like what's happening now is akin to when the Roman soldiers rounded up Christians or anyone disliked by the emperor. I encourage us all to do the right thing and stand up against domestic terrorism of any kind and stand in support of all residents.
You're going to need to
workers,
conclude your comments. Your red light's on.
and stand in support of all residents, workers, and small businesses here in action as much as by word.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Yep.
Our next public commenter is Andrew O'Connor.
Interesting comment by my fellow resident. Do you know right now there's a trial going on up in Santa Ana of a murder in 2019 at the Forest Department?
Please conclude your comments.
I'm not talking public comments.
Well, you direct it to us. Thank you.
Okay, in 2019, an MS-13 gang member, he took a machete and decapitated a guy in a jacuzzi right there. So to say that these people aren't in our community, read it. It's right there, December 2019, MS-13 gang member. But what I want to talk about is a shout out to Justin, the Public Works Department, for replacing the faded U-turn sign at Lake Forest and Serrano. I'm wondering why Councilman Tadimer didn't notice and take action. You've been in the community for over 20 years. That's where the 4th of July parade is, and finally it got replaced. You know, I drive through all 4 districts to my home in Foothill Ranch, and I see many issues in other districts. I wonder why those council members don't take action. You know, I swear to God, you guys you must drive like this with your blinders. You don't see anything. Voight, yours is probably the worst. And I'm glad we're changing over the L system because I've been putting things in as I go into a black hole. There's an issue at Veterans Park where the tabletop was broken. The bolts were gone. I guess somebody took them off. I put it in the system. Pro Tem Pequeno, if you go by tomorrow, can you check and see if that table got fixed? Because no one got back to me on it. All right? So Thursday, May 17th, I know where Tedimer is going to be. He's going to be at the Mission Viejo Orange County Fire Station 24 for the grand opening, right? Tedimer, are you going to be there with your OCFA jacket on and all that? I want to know how come that Mission Viejo got a modernized fire station, but 54 up here that I built Melrose hasn't. It's still the same one. But we put 30,000 more people in the community. Mayor Voights, I drafted a letter to Supervisor Wagner on your behalf. When you began your term as mayor, you said Lake Forest is my priority. Lake Forest residents should not pay for the county mistakes. The airport fire cost us millions of dollars. Spitzer's DA sexual harassment claims is at $6 million. And Supervisor Wagner just feels like, I deserve $44,000 salary increase because I should get same pay as a judge. A judge that has a Juris Doctorate degree, much higher education level. No, Don Wagner, give me my $44,000. So I asked you to write that letter and send it to him. Did you do it, Mayor? Of course not, because he's your boss. And that's what I said when you took every term. Will you challenge your boss on behalf of the city of Lake Forest? And you don't. And then Tuesday, July 23rd, will be D2 Councilman Benjamin View's 58th appearance to answer charges of domestic violence. Now your strategy is for military diversion. Can you explain why you're pleading your case for military diversion?
Thank you for your comments.
Our next public commenter is Reed Buck.
Thank you, council members and staff, and sorry in advance for speaking so quickly. I got a lot to cover. On Thursday, July 10th, I watched a tear-stricken man being ripped away from his family. I watched masked, unidentified men drag him out of the courtroom the very moment his immigration case was dismissed and throw him into an unmarked white van without license plates. His sobbing wife and young daughter were left behind in the courtroom, terrified that they would be abducted next. I repeatedly asked the unidentified men for their badge numbers and whether they had a judicial warrant for the arrest of this man. They did not respond to me. The only thing that differentiated these thugs from actual kidnappers were black tactical vests that said detention officer. I found one of those vests for $49 on Amazon, so how is a person to know if they're being detained or kidnapped? This was their third abduction just that day. Donald Trump has claimed that one of deporting the worst of the worst from this country, and people like Andrew O'Connor believe him. The statistics, however, are stark. A House of Representatives report, a National Institute of Health study, and a literature review by the University of Massachusetts all agree undocumented immigrants, and I'm quoting from the National Institute of Justice here, are arrested at less than half the rate of native-born U.S. citizens for violent and drug crimes. But perhaps the Trump administration has been laser-focused on people who do have criminal histories. Certainly that's what they seem to want us to believe. Once again, the statistics confirm the truth. Data from ICE itself show that 65% of detainees have no criminal histories whatsoever, and only 7% of them are violent criminals. They're not hitting the gangs, and I can tell you that because my partner and I are doing ICE Watch in Lake Forest. They're hitting the Home Depot off of Lake Forest Road. They're hitting car washes, auto body repair shops, and apartment communities off of Trabuco. They're arresting hardworking Americans, doing their best to provide for their families. Some pundits will say that people should seek a legal pathway to citizenship, but that is broken. I have a friend who is undocumented. They work as a nurse and their entire family contributes to their community and economy. That friend has been waiting for 20 years to receive citizenship. The system does not work. I live in the Whispering Hills community. On June 10th, my neighbor caught the camera on unmarked white vans rolling up on our street in an attempt to arrest our gardeners. They fled for their lives, leaving the lawnmowers running as they abandoned them. So you tell me, what does this sound like more? A republic trying to protect its citizens from an invasion of criminal aliens, or a jackboot militia of unidentified thugs disappearing human beings into vans? As a city, we must resist this xenophobic terror state, and as city council members, you are best positioned to do so. So there is a spectrum developing across the U.S. On one end are sanctuary cities, and on the other end are places like Huntington Beach, where the city council has gleefully and hatefully intertwined their law enforcement with ICE. Lake Forest is currently in the middle. That's why I'm asking the city council to align with Los Angeles and the state of California and declare ourselves a sanctuary city. Promise your residents that they can go to work each day without fear. Promise those terrified families that we will not stand for spouses being left without their partners and children being left without their parents. Promise Lake Forest that our police will not aid their abductors. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Our next public commenter is Sean Fletcher.
So sort of off topic, but if you're going to be updating the website, please update the Android page for our app. You know, I don't think we need to have people see Jim Gardner as our mayor still. Anyway, good evening, City Council and those in attendance. My name is Sean Fletcher, and I'm a 23-year resident of Lake Forest. I would like to thank everybody that participated in the Clean Lake Forest annual Pickup After the Party event on July 5th. We had students from El Toro, we had people from the Volunteer in the Park, and we had our regulars from the Clean Lake Forest events. While the city does a phenomenal job with trash receptacles everywhere and picking up once the parade is over, we still found a significant amount of litter on July 5th with a combination of trash left behind by parade spectators, as well as litter that had been there for a while in planters and out-of-sight areas. I appreciate the fact that the city has come up with a set of rules to the parade stating that people cannot mark off their spots until July 3rd. Unfortunately, during our trash walk, we did find a significant amount of tape that was left behind by parade spectators. For those of us that are parents, we know instinctively that having rules in place is worthless unless they are enforced, and it appears that the city was collecting items that were left out before the 3rd. I'd like to suggest that the city codified rules for all future 4th of July parade events. First, I would suggest that no actual equipment, including chairs, tables, blankets, be left out on city pedestrian sidewalks until the streets are closed the morning of July 4th. This keeps the city of Lake Forest in compliance with the Americans with Disability Act and allows those with mobility issues free access on our sidewalks. I do like the rule this year that limited marking on your spot until the 3rd, but I believe that marking on the spot should be limited to chalk. Unfortunately, we still had too many residents that left their tape behind, and by the time we pick it up on the 5th, it is already baked into the concrete. Finally, I think there needs to be a limit to how much sidewalk space a family can reserve. During the parade, there were people that marked off huge areas of sidewalk for only a few people, limiting seating for others. Again, thank you for putting a great event this year. Another off-topic thing is I understand that the city's considering looking into a parade, a float for the Rose Parade. I got to believe that marketing us better than spending that kind of money on a parade. I don't think people watching the Rose Parade in the morning are going to go, oh, there's the Lake Forest Parade. Let's invest in Lake Forest. I think there's a better way we can spend that money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher.
Next public commenter is Lindsay Buck.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to second the words of my partner Reed and the gentleman who spoke earlier. We stand with our immigrant communities living in fear of ongoing ICE abductions. To our Lake Forest friends, families, and neighbors, we see you, we care about you, and we will not let this kidnapping go down easily. Thank you. Chinga la migra.
Thank you for your comment.
Our next speaker is Nikita Ganatra.
Good evening. My name is Nikita Ganatra, and I'm the owner of Kumon Math and Reading Center of Foothill Ranch. I speak not only as an educator, but also as an immigrant who has built a life in California for the past 32 years and a business here in Lake Forest for 12 years. As someone who came to this country in search of opportunity with my parents and uncles and aunts, there were 17 of us on that flight, 4 families. I know firsthand the courage, sacrifice, and resilience it takes to start over in a new land. Like so many immigrants before me, I've worked hard to give back to my community, and I think you guys know this. The families I teach here and those that I've taught in middle school in Whittier, many of whom were also immigrants, are driven by a deep belief in education and a better future for their children. Immigrants are the backbone of our economy, our neighborhoods, and our schools. They open businesses, work essential jobs, and contribute to every sector of society. Yet today I see fear and uncertainty among many in our community due to the current actions of ICE agents. Parents worry about being separated from their children, students lose focus in the classroom, and entire families feel less secure. In my own experience, I can attest that a welcoming environment, not intimidation, allows people to learn, thrive, and give back. Law enforcement's duty is to protect and serve everyone, not to create an atmosphere of fear. When immigrants are treated as outsiders or worse, as threats, we all lose the richness and dynamism that defines this country. I urge this council to remember the vital role immigrants play, because I am living proof of what's possible when communities welcome and support one another. It is not the us versus them, it is we. We are all immigrants unless you are native. Affirm that Lake Forest is a place where immigrants are valued, not targeted. Advocate for practices that treat all residents with dignity and humanity. Ensure our community remains a place where newcomers can put down roots, contribute, and dream. I hope my journey and those of the families I serve remind us all why compassion and justice are at the core of who we are. I thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Nikita.
And our last public commenter is Brian McMillan.
I have decided that my comments can wait till a later date.
That concludes our general public comment session.
Okay, well, that brings us to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the city's consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one vote. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the city council or staff request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Have there been any requests from the public?
We do have a request, two requests from the public, and that is consent calendar item 5 and 6.
Okay, is that a poll? Okay.
Correct, yes.
5 and 6. Okay.
I'll move the remainder. I'll second that.
Okay, council, do you have anything to pull? I'd like to pull item number 10. So 5, 6, and 10 are pulled. So we'll be voting on the remainder. Do we have any public comments for any of these items?
Not for item 10, just comment for 5 and 6.
Okay, so with that, I'll ask for a vote. Yeah, I'll call for the vote. Yeah.
I do need one more vote, thank you. And that motion passes. And our first public comment is on item number 5, and that is the minutes of the regular meeting of the City Council held on July 1, 2025. And the public commenter is Andrew O'Connor.
Portola Hills resident Dana Silver, at the 16-minute, 19-second timestamp, was proactive in fire mitigation in Concourse Park in Portola Hills. She contacted the Public Works to clear the flammable brush. Like I said earlier, I just understand why our councilmen in their districts don't know what the hell is going on. I've already, Teddimer, that U-turn sign's been faded for probably 25 years, and you don't see that it needs to be changed. And Mr. Serbo, you said you go to Concourse Park often. You don't see that fire hazard and say, boy, I got to tell the Public Works to get that taken out, things like that. And Dana Silva had to do it. This is the exasperation I have with you 5 guys. You sit up there in your sport coats and your ties and your lapel pins, and you act like you know what's going on, and you're really clueless, absolutely clueless. Maybe you think I'm making up a small thing, but if you connect the dots, I've been coming here for over 20 years, it's the same thing. Mayor Voigt said that no structures were in Foothill Ranch or Portola Hills during 3 evacuations. That's not true. The Santiago fire of October 2007 in my neighborhood, Lunette Avenue, number 9 Lunette Avenue, had significant damage to the rear of the home with interior smoke damage. And I left the pictures at home, so I'll bring them next time. I've shown them to you before. It had significant rear end damage. It had smoke inside it. But you just go off with your tangents. Oh, nothing happened. I got pictures, dude. So can you speak factually just once instead of always this baloney you come up with? The Silverado fire of October 2020 makes significant damage to Overlook Park at the end of Viaggio. The gazebo, the playground, exterior fencing, trees were replaced. Elegant construction with the contract to rebuild the park. Over $100,000 in damage, Mayor. But you said, oh, we didn't get any fire damage from those fires. Yeah, we did. I know, I was there. And I came to you and talked to you about it. But I don't know, Alzheimer's, don't care, I don't get it. SP 39, it's been on the docket for 4 years, city manager. You're supposed to hire a consultant, which you love to do. Boy, do you like to hire these consultants at 6 figures, it's, you know. You're supposed to do a consultant for heavy traffic on our roadways, and you haven't done it. And how many times I've come up here and I've talked about deteriorating Bake Parkway. It's literally crumbling. Why isn't that being taken care of? Why isn't that being addressed?
Thank you for your comments.
Our next public commenter is for item number 6, which is the certification of warrant register, and that is Andrew O'Connor.
So the warrant register, to you in the audience, this is the city's checkbook. They publish out what payments got dispersed, what vendor, the reason, things like that. And I think the latest one, this warrant register, we printed $3.8 million in payments. Everything from utilities to sheriffs to the county, all sorts of things. And I go through there and I take a look at it, and this one caught my eye. $888 to Tween Tea, Tongue, Dragon, and Lion Dance. Multicultural festival. You know anything about this, Mr. Yu? I mean, anything about this? Did you invite these people or think about it? And they're the only performer. We had 7 or 8 performers. They're the only ones asking for payment. You know, we had the Japanese one, we had Hispanics, all those different. These are the only ones looking for payment. They want payment for a dragon running around that they go in all these different places. I thought the Chinese want to come and share their culture. We got to pay for these guys to run around in their little dragon outfits. And then I thought, well, 888. Why did it come up with that? So I did a Google search. In Chinese culture, the number 8 is highly auspicious, signifying wealth and prosperity. And 3 8s amplify this meaning. So I'm just shaking my head like, well, this is a multicultural event. We invited these different cultures. They all came to share, but these guys want us to pay them $888 to run around. Can anyone explain why that is? But it's not your money. You guys don't care. It's my money, the taxpayer. Just keep burning it. We'll talk about that next subject. You're wasted money.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, and I guess there are warrants on the register for the County of Orange. I am an employee of the County of Orange, but I do not work for the department that generated these warrants. Because the County of Orange is a public agency, because I do not work for the department in question, I have determined I have a non-interest in the warrants, and I will be voting on the items. That brings us to item number 10. Okay, I pulled this one because this is our final funding phase that we're.
You need to vote on.
Okay, I thought we did. Okay, I would call for the vote for the remainder.
Motion?
I'll move 5, 6, and 10.
No, we'll do them all. Okay, 5, 6, 5. Well, I haven't spoke 10 yet. So
5 and 6.
5 and 6. I was going to do them all together, but okay. We'll do 5 and 6. Motion is made by Mayor Pro Tem and seconded by Councilman Yu.
And items 5 and 6 have been passed unanimously.
Okay, that brings me to item number 10. Consider the final funding phase for the city's much beloved Shop and Dine Community Gift Card Program, BOGO. And this is where we combined Phase 11 and 12. And on the item, it's for one card per person. And I'm just asking that we put 2 cards in case, because we have Phase 11 and Phase 12 of these, combine them together, so we have a 2-card limit. So that's all I'm asking.
Mayor?
Yes.
So the last phase, we allocated a double amount, which helped with a single car they could purchase, which kind of helped allow more of our residents to participate in the program. In the past, when we've had this typical $475,000 to $500,000 allocation, the funds get used up in hours. And so this next 2 phases we're talking about from the audit committee, myself and Councilmember Teddemer, is that we decided we're going to do this in August, right before the Taste of Lake Forest, and also in November before the holidays, and do the 2 different applications with the smaller amounts. If we go to 2 cards per person, my fear is that each one of those allocations is going to get eaten up very quickly, and less people would be able to participate. So that would be my concern about adding a second card.
Okay, when the cards went too fast, we were offering 3 cards per person. And you had a lot of people that were using them from outside the city and actually making up websites for them. I think that, Adrian, if you could come forward for, I got a question for you. The one where we combined the 2 and it went on with 1, I think it went on for almost a month. Is that correct, Adrian? How long did it last for that one?
Phase 10 that you're describing, we doubled the money, so it was about $1.3 million. That lasted approximately 6 weeks, with the stipulation that it was 1 card per purchaser.
And so I think that for us, this being phase 11 and 12, our final phases, we're not asking for 3 because I think they did go too fast. I think the one that went so fast is because we had IFE publicizing them and advertising them outside the city. So we had people as far away as Orange and Rancho Santa Margarita, Irvine buying cards from us. I think that we've talked about this is going to be an advertised within the city of Lake Forest. And so I think it's a lot more confined to our residents and for our businesses. So I feel comfortable with it. Yeah.
So just about every one of the rollouts, I can't tell you how many people have told me, I wish there was, or by the time I went and looked, I was out. I mean, it's more than I can count, and it's usually the people that are on fixed incomes at El Toro Mobile Homes Estates, Prothero Mobile Home Estates, or at Forest Garden. So those are the people on fixed incomes that just tell me they can't even get it. Now I get this one took 6 weeks, the last one, because we doubled it. But I'm with the ad hoc that just leave it to 1, and I don't care where they buy them from because they get to spend the money here in Lake Forest. So whoever buys it, that's fine. But I don't want somebody to be able to have them, their daughter, their son, their dog, and everybody else in the family to buy 2 apiece. And then so you have one family that buys like 12. So I think 1 spreads it to every one of the residents, or potentially to more residents than just if we start adding it. And you know, the ad hoc thought long and hard about this, and I agree with the ad hoc.
Okay, so nothing further. We'll go with the ad hoc's recommendation. So I'll move item number 10 as written as staff recommendation.
Mayor, if I may, I did receive a public comment for this item, and that is Nikita Ganatra.
Nikita. Wow, Nikita, we get you twice tonight.
Well, I thought this was important. Thank you for your time. I just want to speak to this particular point because I am that business that benefits from this program. And I love the fact that it does exist, but to Mr. Pequeño's statement that it ends up in the hands of very few people, and then I end up getting a lot of them. And I think that there needs to be some sort of a security measure that allows you to identify yourself as a Lake Forest resident, because it is a Lake Forest program, and therefore you should not only be a Lake Forest resident to take advantage of this program, but also spend the dollars in a Lake Forest business so that all of that is being accounted for. It is very, very unfortunate that those families who absolutely can benefit from this are not benefiting, and in fact, it becomes a transfer of wealth that only those in the know have access and are able to actively get to it in a very quick way, have the advantage of using this program. So if the intent of this is to ensure that there is access, and not only the benefit goes to the businesses, but also to the residents, then there needs to be a little bit more scrutiny around how it's rolled out, how it's implemented, and provide those sort of safeguards to ensure that those families who are truly struggling, who cannot go out and spend $50 at a local restaurant, are able to actually take advantage of the extra 50 when spent. So I appreciate your time. And this is just a perspective from a business owner.
Thank you. I'll address the fact that only businesses within the city limits of Lake Forest can participate in this program. They have to sign up through the city, and so only city businesses are participating. But the fact is, we can't really exclude, and I'll have Mr. Mel Richardson speak on that. Really, we can't exclude. I think that I agree. We should advertise it, which on our website tonight, I think that we just did a mayor's minute on it, talking about it. I think that it should be for Lake Forest residents. We can't exclude other residents from other cities. And I think that the problem we had when it went so fast that everybody's complaining about, and it did go fast, is because you had the city of Lake Forest advertising it. You had IFE, which was actually the provider of the program, advertising it. And so it did go far and wide, that cycle. So that's why it went so fast. But talk about excluding people from other cities. We really can't.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's really a question of practice.
Through the city's website and got a free $100 gift card, but it has to be used in Lake Forest. And so basically, we have people coming to Lake Forest as a destination to go to our restaurants, our beauty supply, our beauty salons, our dentist, and so your school. So the fact is, it's hard to exclude, but the fact is, to have people coming from outside the city and spending their money here benefits the city. And so it has been a good thing, not only for the businesses and the city, but also the residents. And so I'm satisfied with that. So my motion is, oh, yes, Councilman Servo.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. One question. Adrian, could you maybe give us an idea what's been the economic impact of these phases on this unique program? I mean, when I was mayor a couple of years ago, and I had a meeting with the other mayors, and they really liked this idea of how to use this ARPA money, the American Rescue Plan Act, was a very creative way for us to have this COVID reconstruction and all the businesses that are participating in it to help drive revenue. Do you have information about what the economic impact has been for this program?
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Serbo. It's been a very successful program. We've put in approximately $6 million into the program, and due to the fact that it's a buy one, get one, about $12 million has been spent in the Lake Forest economy due to the BOGO program. We have interest from surrounding cities that have contacted us to kind of figure out how we've managed the program from inception to where we currently are. So it's definitely made, it's been heard wide and far, and a lot of cities are interested, and as we hear every day, the public really appreciates the program.
And one of the restrictions of this money is it had to be spent by a certain period of time, and that's what we're up against now coming to our final phases. So as much as we'd love this kind of a program to continue, that's not going to be the case, but we are going to be responsible and allocate these funds and have our residents and businesses benefit from them, right?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Economic stimulus for the city of Lake Forest, it was a success.
That is correct.
So I would thank you for helping to run the program and getting all these phases out. And so you actually get a lot of kudos from us as council members and the residents. Thank you. So that brings us to item number, a motion. My motion is on the floor for staff recommendations on item number 10.
I already second that.
Okay, then we'll call for the vote.
And that motion passes unanimously.
Okay. At this time, we're going into item number 13, a public hearing. And I'm going to turn the gavel over to my Mayor Pro Tem, Robert Pequeño. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So we will now open the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, please read the title of item 13.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. The title of item number 13 is Use Permit 11-24-5754 for Hypnotic Wellness to establish a massage establishment at 23811 Bridger Road, Unit 100.
Thank you. Madam City Manager, please introduce this item.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We have our senior planner, Ron Santos, coming up to the podium, who will provide an overview of use permit 11-24-5754, and then our city attorney will follow with an explanation of the process that you will be taking tonight.
All right, good evening, Mayor Voights and members of the City Council. So this item is a request for a use permit to operate a massage establishment in an existing 1,046 square foot tenant space at 23811 Bridger Road. The project site is in the Bridger Road Shopping Center, which is a 3/4 of an acre in size commercial center and includes 11,621 square feet and 8 tenant spaces. The application is before the City Council as a call for review initiated by Mayor Pro Tem Pequeño of the Planning Commission's June 5th approval of the use permit. Mayor Pro Tem Pequeño received consensus for the call for review at the June 17th City Council meeting. So next, as City Manager Rose mentioned, I'd like to do a handoff to City Attorney Richardson before coming back to me, and I'll continue the presentation. City Attorney Richardson will cover some of the legal issues related to the call for review.
Thank you, Ron, and thank you, Mayor and Council. This is just a bit of legal housekeeping that's required as part of this public hearing. This is a bit of a different item than we're used to here in Lake Forest. It carries with it constitutional protections, and I'll walk through some of those issues that we have to be aware of and the procedural elements that are different in this hearing than in most items that we see as a council. So this item requires the City Council to provide discretionary review of a land use application. It is also a review of a Planning Commission decision. Because the council is reviewing a commission decision, and because that decision involves a land use permit or application, the City Council is sitting tonight in what's called a quasi-judicial capacity. This is different from the City Council's typical role as a legislative body, which means that you sit essentially as judge and jury and are required to have the same neutrality and lack of bias as a judge and jury would have. The key difference between your typical item for the council when you sit legislatively is that the applicant tonight is entitled to constitutional due process protections under the 5th and 14th Amendments, including a neutral, unbiased decision-making body. To ensure neutrality, the law requires that the council decision be based solely on facts and information introduced as part of the item, either through the printed agenda materials, including materials linked in the agenda, staff's presentation, or testimony by the applicant or others. Council's decision cannot be based on extrinsic evidence not introduced as part of the public hearing, but must be based exclusively on the required findings supported by facts in the record, again presented during the hearing or as part of the agenda packet. To ensure that any extrinsic facts or information or evidence are included in the hearing record, a standard step in hearings like this is to give each council member an opportunity to disclose any pre-hearing contacts with the applicant or other third parties from which relevant information was gleaned. We call these ex parte contacts. They aren't wrong. In fact, in some instances, they're encouraged in order to become educated with the issue, but they must be disclosed if they provide information that is relevant to the hearing. So at this time, I will provide an opportunity for each council member to disclose any ex parte contacts that may be relevant to tonight's hearing. We can begin with Councilmember Serbo and then move from right to left. So if there have been any ex parte contacts.
To your question, I have not had any ex parte conversations or other information about this topic.
Thank you.
I as well have had no ex parte communications.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I have had ex parte communication with some of the residents that are surrounding this.
Okay. And is any of that information gleaned relevant to the hearing this evening?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, let's make sure that that information is discussed as part of the hearing. And so it can be introduced as part of the record.
Okay.
Okay. And then when that's introduced, if you could just state this is from a resident with whom I have spoken.
Sure.
Wonderful.
No, that's
Great. Okay, thank you. The only other procedural issue that's a little bit different here is because this is a public hearing with those constitutional due process protections, the applicant is entitled to more than 3 minutes. So the applicant will be given the time necessary for them to make their case and to present their facts to the council. All others will receive the same 3 minutes as with any other item. I will be here, of course, all evening to answer any questions of legal nature or procedural nature to ensure, again, that due process is allotted to the applicant. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Richardson. Mayor Pro Tem and City Council, next I'd like to provide some background information for this item. So Hypnotic Wellness, which is the applicant, operated as a personal care service without massage in the same location until shortly before their application for a use permit to add massage was filed in late November. The service included hypnotherapy, use of an oximeter, which is a device that measures oxygen in the blood cells, and other personal wellness services. The business also makes, sells, and proposes to use a handmade herbal medicine ball that is steamed and applied to the body. That's the device that's pictured on your slide there. This and virtually any other non-medical means of applying pressure or touching the body is, by Muni Code definition, massage that requires a use permit. Proposed hours of operation for the use are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday, by appointment only, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The city currently has 18 licensed massage establishments. Their locations are represented by the yellow dots on the map on your screen. Of the 18, 6 have use permits. The remainder are considered legal non-conforming, as they were established during a period when, pursuant to state law, the city did not require use permits for massage establishments. The map also shows the locations of city parks, which are represented by the green shading. This graph shows the number of massage establishments in the city at 5 snapshots in time: 2008, 2015, 2019, 2024, and 25, with color shading to indicate regulatory milestones. Most notably, between 2008 and 2014, state law prohibited local governments from requiring discretionary permits for massage establishments. In 2016, the city amended the code to once again require use permits. The sharp decline in the number between 2019 and 2024 is likely attributed to the deterrent that the cost of applying for a use permit represents to some, as well as, and to a greater extent, the COVID pandemic, which shuttered many businesses, but massage establishments in particular. The proposed use is subject to and evaluated for compliance with certain land use regulations, which principally include the general plan and zoning, which are both mixed use 43 and allow massage establishments with approval of a use permit. Additionally, massage establishments are subject to the requirements of Municipal Code Chapter 5.07, which includes an extensive list of regulations specific to massage uses. This section requires a background investigation, licensing, including annual renewals, state certification of massage therapists, and numerous other standards and requirements. Uses surrounding the project site include single-family residential in Kavanaugh Park, approximately 85 feet to the north, commercial adjacent and across Bridger Road to the east and northeast, and the 5 freeway to the south and southwest. On March 6th, the Planning Commission denied this use permit and continued the item to the April 3rd meeting so that city staff could prepare a resolution for denial stating the commission's findings. On April 3rd, the commission engaged in further review and ultimately voted to continue the item to the June 5th meeting with the public hearing open and re-noticed. The commission requested that the applicant revise the written project description to be consistent with the description the applicant provided verbally at the hearing. One public comment letter was received in support of the application prior to that June 5th meeting, or rather the April 3rd meeting. On June 5th, after a review of modifications proposed by the applicant, the commission voted to approve the application with a 3-2 vote. At the June 5th commission meeting, staff presented the applicant's revised floor plan and revised project narrative, which included modifications listed on this slide. Most notably, the applicant committed to limit the massage to only one room in the tenant space and to limit massage to only the upper body and feet. In approving the use permit, the Planning Commission imposed numerous conditions of approval, all of which may be considered standard for this type of use. This slide highlights 3 of those conditions, which are obtaining a massage establishment license, compliance with Chapter 5.07, and that the use maintain compliance with the approved written project narrative. As previously noted, the Commission's approval action took into account certain operational restrictions that are included in the applicant's narrative, which were made requirements by reference via the 3rd condition listed on this slide. These conditions are included in the draft City Council resolution for approval of this use permit, which is attachment 1 to the council staff report. So this slide shows the findings required for approval of a use permit specified in the code, all of which need to be made in conjunction with an approval action. A denial requires only one finding to the contrary. As a matter of best practice, all findings, whether for approval or denial, should be supported in the resolution by statements of fact. Staff is recommending that the City Council exercises discretion in approving or denying the use permit and has prepared draft resolutions with findings in support of either action. Attachment 1, again, is the resolution for approval, and Attachment 2 is a resolution for denial. The City Council has discretion to modify, augment, or add findings or support statements, as well as in the case of an approval action, to add, modify, or delete conditions of approval. To date, with the exception of the previously noted letter that we received in support, staff has not received any public comments on this item. That concludes staff's presentation, and of course, I'm available to answer any questions that council may have.
All right, thank you. Before we go to questions, do we have any speakers on this?
We do, Mayor Pro Tem. Our first speaker is Brian McMillan.
Good evening. This proposed resolution for denial seems to be for 3 reasons. One is incompatibility, and some comments that were made in there is providing services behind closed doors where illicit sexual activity may easily occur. Most healthcare services are performed behind closed doors. the massage business is a healthcare business. According to the American Medical Association, and various other bodies, government entities, massage is a therapeutic medical process, medical procedure, not unlike a medical doctor does. This is very important. This city has spent a lot of money chasing things that they have no authority to do. Prostitution is covered under the California Penal Code, over which you have no authority. You cannot arrest anybody for prostitution. The only authority the city has is over your local ordinances. What this means is, and what your attorney did not tell you, is that if you vote to deny this resolution tonight, you will be violating the 14th Amendment for a different reason. You will be, let me see if I can get the exact words here. You will be intentionally misinterpreting your own laws. That is a violation of the 14th Amendment. You might want to ask him, as soon as I'm done, you might want to ask him if that's correct or not. You have already violated the 14th Amendment for a different reason, and that matter is in the courts now, as you know. The denial, contrary to public health and safety, are you kidding? Are you afraid that a masseuse is going to come outside and start propositioning, soliciting for sex in a comic book store? Nobody can make this stuff up. General welfare, you just had on the screen the definitions for general welfare and for
That concludes your comments. Thank you. Thank you for
Okay.
your comments.
Done.
Our next public commenter is Maria Becerris.
Mr. City Attorney, this is one of the residents that I have spoken to, Maria and her husband.
Good evening, Council. I am here today to ask that Council deny the use permit for the massage establishment right next to Kavanaugh Park. Unfortunately, in District 5, we don't have the pleasure of having issues as parking and litter. We actually deal with safety issues because the previous committees have allowed so many businesses in that area, and there's not enough resources to ensure that they are practicing and abiding by the conditions that the use permits that they were authorized. May I remind Council that this specific unit had a marijuana dispensary that caused issues to the park, where a resident was hit by one of the users of that they were smoking in front of children. So the fact that, they're advertising it as a massage establishment, but Lake Forest itself has a history of businesses that were involved in sex trafficking. And there are other businesses within Lake Forest, specifically in District 5, that were, that the sheriff had to shut down, and they're doing investigations because they have been found to elicit and perform sexual acts, and that they also were involved in people trafficking. So it's very difficult for the items that they recommended for the business to adhere to, because who's going to ensure that there's not going to be a sheriff there with every person making sure that that they don't remove their lower half of their clothes. And again, with that specific business that was a marijuana dispensary, right next to a park, it took the sheriffs months to remove them because they have, the resources are very minimal here in Lake Forest. We have so many businesses. We have almost more than 30 massage parlors and spa parlors. Why does Lake Forest need another one? We are trying to make Lake Forest attractive. How would this type of business benefit the city of Lake Forest if there's already such a terrible history with these types of businesses within our city? That's it.
Thank you. And just so I can let my colleagues and people listening, about a year and a half ago, she came to a planning commission meeting about the zoning that we had done there. And I was watching that meeting, and I remember her coming and pleading with at the time, the planning commission to make sure that her neighborhood doesn't get any more businesses that bring bad things to her neighborhood. So thank you.
That is it for our speakers who have submitted a blue speaker card. So if it pleases the council, you can call up the applicant for testimony if you like.
Yes, is the applicant here? Okay, so there are some emails that were sent, one by Mark Basaris, and he basically is saying the same thing his wife did, and I did, Mr. City Attorney, speak with him. That he was just talking about, and I'm just going to paraphrase, it's the proximity of the park, the issues that this park has had because of the high traffic of, they had an issue with homelessness for the long time, then the dispensaries, and then now with this, that they're at their wits' end. And so there's another email from Mike and Sloan Sanchez that I spoke with Mike Sanchez about this, and he's expressing his concerns also about this park and the proximity. He's got a 5-year-old that he's afraid to take to that park, or if this place opens up, that he's got to pay attention. And he's basically, with that in mind, this park, he says, is part of the neighborhood. Or I'm sorry, this business is part of that neighborhood, and he doesn't want this in his neighborhood. And like I said, we've got 4 emails, and I'm not going to read them all, but there was a guy that lives right there at the 84-inch or the 84-foot mark. And this one's a small email. It says, my elderly mother and I live on Kavanaugh Road, close to the park and next to Hypnotic Wellness Place. We already seen a few vehicles parked in front of this place overnight and many days. We hear from the neighbors that this is in front of a massage place. My mother and grandkids take their walks almost daily to the front door of the McDonald's and the Green Thumb, or just through the park. We would like the city not to accept the application or permit. And I would also say that the one speaker that we have doesn't live in this city, so he doesn't have to live by their housing, their home prices are affected by people coming through with all the police issues. So I'm gonna, before I ask any questions, I'm gonna see if my colleagues have, or is there any more colleagues?
The letters that we received, I understand the sensitivity and some of the history here. I'm really trying to look at the A through G items on here and find something that, just one of them, that would create a denial. And while I am very sensitive to illicit activity, and some of the letters that were written talking about increased traffic and whatnot, well, we've got it limited to a single room. So how many more people can be there at the same time? In this business, already doing business, how much more? I'm having a hard time seeing, if there's significant noise, traffic, or other conditions that may be objectionable. So, I don't see them hearing anything about promoting outside of their business. It's going to be something that they're not going to be walking out into the park or into the residences or passing out flyers. That would obviously violate, their use permit. So I'm just struggling a little bit with trying to be objective about what the requirements are for us to come up with a denial. And I look through the A through G, and maybe we can put that back up on the screen just to kind of, discuss each one of them to make sure that it conforms to these items. So I'm just, that's my struggle right now, and open to debate and discussion. But understanding the sensitivity, yes, we do not want prostitution in our city. We don't want illicit activity. But does this rise to that measure of that kind of activity? That's what I'm struggling with.
All right, so I think D is compatibility. It's so close to the park, so close to their houses, and there's a comic book store on the other side, and there's something in place for some apartments to go right where the Arby's is. So that is going to be a bunch of families living there, and I'm not so worried about the masseuse going out and proposition. It's the people that come there, or is what I'm concerned about and what they're concerned about. They don't care about what the masseuse is doing inside. What is coming in when that marijuana collective was there, it brought all kinds of people that were not wanted in that neighborhood. When I was a deputy in this city, marijuana dispensaries were the bane of my existence. So it's not that what that business is doing, it's the people that draw there. If the person comes there and he doesn't get what he wants, what's stopping him from going to that park or to one of those residents and doing something with them? I had this analogy as like a pit bull is fine when it's behind the gate. When you open up the gate, you don't know what's going to happen. So these people or these residents have been there, and they've gone through everything that the city is allowed to go in there, even though the marijuana dispensaries weren't allowed. They've seen it over and over and over again, and to see police cars at that location when you're trying to sell a house doesn't help you sell your house. So it's compatibility. And so, Ron, I got some questions for you. You got any questions?
Oh, go ahead with Ron first.
Okay. So, of course, one of my questions is, have there been any unpermitted businesses in that same location, because it's the closest business to the park?
Yeah, Commissioner, or Mayor Pro Tem Pequeno, we've had, there were 3 marijuana dispensaries that were there for periods of time in 2021, 2022, and 2023.
Okay.
Separate incidents of separate businesses.
And so, have there been issues with massage establishments in the city? I know that's already been established, right?
There have been issues, and some of that is described or documented in the draft resolution for denial.
Okay, so in the resolution for denial, was there any other issues? Like, was there a code enforcement issue with this applicant?
As far as code enforcement, there's been one code enforcement case in the past year that related to the tenant improvement work that was done in the applicant's suite.
Okay, so when I was reading it, it says...
Without a permit, I'm sorry.
Right, it's without a permit. But it says that part of the reason for the denial was because he had already had a propensity to do what he's not supposed to be doing in that building.
That's correct. That's...
Okay, so... Go ahead. You go ahead and ask some questions.
Okay. First of all, can you go to the next page, please, Ron? The page after. There's a few things. I want to know why this business, as they propose, use the herbal ball to apply to the body for some therapeutic purpose, is considered a massage parlor.
So the chapter of the code that regulates massage has a definition of massage, and in that definition, it indicates that any touching of the body constitutes massage. So that's effectively is the reason why it's by definition massage.
So is chiropractor considered a massage service as well?
Great question, thank you. Actually, the code has exclusions from the massage definition for medical businesses.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very familiar with this type of setting, and also I read the staff information. I understand this practice is generated from Chinese traditional medicine. As a first-generation immigrant, I used to get this type of service all the time, so I'm just kind of surprised this is being generalized to the point consider a massage service. The typical massage service we consider is use some kind of a technique to apply pressure to the body, and this is merely use the herbal to apply to body for the therapeutic purpose. And the second, can you go to the next page? The page after. Thank you. I want to see the condition the planning commission attached to it. And one of the conditions, they say the herbal balls have to prepare 30 minutes before the massage. I just want to know what's their reasoning behind it. Because the herbal medicine is known for its longevity, and it can be prepared there for a long time. And why didn't the herbal ball need to prepare 30 minutes prior to the massage appointment?
Councilmember, the applicant explained that that device, that the herbal massage ball, is steamed, and so there's apparently a 30-minute period that's necessary in order to steam that device before use, and that's the reason why the applicant requires that time in advance of their appointments for massage.
Okay, and the conditions, upper body, feet only, clients not allowed to undress below the, okay, got you. Yeah, thank you.
And again, trying to be objective with the information here. So some of the arguments were saying, well, we got a whole bunch of massage establishments. Well, does the Planning Commission ever limit a certain type of business because of the number that we have in the city?
The city has no limits on any types of business that,
Okay,
that
so
I'm aware of.
that argument kind of goes by the wayside for me. And then we're kind of, in my mind, jumping to conclusions about this particular applicant. I don't know them. I'm not familiar with this therapy, this warm thing that goes on the upper body and the feet and whatever characteristics that it has. But I'm just, again, trying to go from a factual standpoint here and understand, could you give me some more information about what was the evolution from the Planning Commission that went 401 to ultimately 3-2? Was it the applicant's revised description of what their business is going to be and the number of rooms? Is that the genesis of what that changed?
Councilmember, after the initial hearing where the Planning Commission denied the application, again, and it was continued because we needed a written resolution with findings to come back to the commission. So we, at the continued hearing, the public hearing was still open. The applicant was given another opportunity to address the commission, and at that time provided additional details regarding how his business operates and specified certain provisions and offered to make changes to the business operations as necessary, perhaps to change the commissioner's opinion on it and reverse the vote. And the commissioners granted the applicant the opportunity to do that, to a 60-day period to revise the written project description and to come back. And when it came back at that June 5th meeting, 3 of the commissioners were satisfied that those changes were addressing their concerns. And so there was another vote,
Okay.
and the vote was for approval.
Well, I know we have some very strong commissioners that really know this even better than we do. So for their recommendation to come back and change says something to me. And I know this is an emotional issue, and I'm trying to look at this as an objective, fact-finding body that we're charged with doing here and figure what the decision is going to be based on the information that we have. So that's just a statement I'd like to make.
So, Ron, before anybody, was the applicant informed of this meeting and was he invited?
Yes, he was.
Okay, so I'm looking at this, at the denial that you had, that the planning commission or the staff did for planning commission. It said between 2022 and 2024, the Orange County Sheriff's Department conducted investigations at massage parlor establishments across the city. And there was actually a Orange County Register article about 2 of them here in Lake Forest. And it was this lady that had, I guess, some across the county, but 2 of them here in Lake Forest. So I don't mind that he has this business. I just don't think it's compatible with the area that it's at. You know, because there's plenty of places he can do this. But there's that business is part of that neighborhood. And with the applicant not being here, I don't know what to say. I get it. He's trying to run a business, but there's families that live there. That business is going to come and go, but those families have been there forever, and I know that they're building an ADU to stay there longer. So for my colleagues, I know you're looking for it, but the compatibility of where it's at and it's part of that neighborhood. And like I said, we had 5 different people email there, so I think that the residents should be given what they got. He can still run his business without touching people, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so, and like I said, it's not just what he's doing inside, it's the people that are going to be drawn to that area is what the residents and myself are concerned about. I just don't think it's compatible, and to me, whatever it was D, compatibility is the part where it doesn't fit. I guess it fits, you know, is it zoned for it, but what is a conditional use permit?
So a conditional use permit is, Attorney Richardson mentioned earlier, it is a discretionary permit, which means that the approving body, in this case the council now, has the discretion to approve or deny the application based on the findings that are stipulated in the code. So again, to approve it, all of the findings must be made. To deny it, only one of the findings need to be made to the contrary. But of course, you could have more than one finding for denial as well.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. First, one of the public speakers commented about the multiple marijuana dispensaries and how long the city struggled with that. And I was there for quite a bit of it, I would say. And that the longevity of that was not because the city didn't make every possible effort. We were a no from go for every dispensary that ever showed up. But as you might imagine, it is a long and complicated legal process that we have to go through. Property owners may be supportive or not, et cetera. So it's a very complicated thing. I wished it didn't take as long as it did, but it did, and we did it many times over, as for those who've been following the city know well. And so I sort of put it into a separate category because those were illegal from the go, and we fought them from the beginning and always were trying to close them down. I think that's a fair summary. Look at the city manager, the city attorney. We were adamant about saying no, but in spite of those efforts, it still takes time to run the legal process. So that I wished it weren't that way, and I'm sorry for those who had to go through the fatigue of seeing that happen over and over again, but it wasn't for lack of city effort to expend every resource we could to close them down as quickly as we could. The thing I hear a little bit in here is this idea that there are some massage establishments that have a checkered history, and therefore that should wash over to all of them. And I don't think that's consistent with what I believe we stand for as a country, that idea that you are guilty till proven innocent. That would seem to fly in the face that I'm going to condemn you or say you are undeserving because of what somebody else did. That seems pretty unfair, and I don't know what the numbers are, but I think the majority, as far as we know, are compliant, and I'm looking for the city attorney. That's a fair summary. The majority of them, as far as we know, are compliant, and there are no issues of legality going on in the majority of them. unfortunately, there are some bad actors, and when we find out about them, law enforcement does what it does, and we take the appropriate action. So I'm a little concerned that we are going to condemn somebody because of the actions of others. That seems to be antithetical to what we represent. We're not guilty till proven innocent. We're innocent until proven guilty. The idea that people live in close proximity to it and therefore that gives them some special authority, I don't think quite aligns. And again, this is one of those tough calls for me. Some decisions we make up here are easy to call. It's black and white, and it's easy. Some are gray, but we have to make black and white out of it. This is one of those circumstances where I understand the concerns of the citizens. But appreciate that. But we have to deal with the facts as they are and the circumstances. I wouldn't want somebody, if you wanted to open a business, to say, there's another one next door and they've had a problem, so I'm not going to let you have a business. That seems very unfair to do. If there are problems and they are discovered, then the actions will be taken. But I can't condemn this person who has no record of any illegality that I'm aware of. That's his right to be here, his or her right to be here or not be here. We want to condemn them because they didn't show up. We have a process, and we're following the process. And I appreciate that you don't like my views, and that's fair. But I'm uncomfortable that I'm going to deny somebody something when they themselves have not done anything wrong as it relates to the illegality. I know there was a tenant improvement issue. They're probably not the first and probably not going to be the last as a tenant improvement issue. And to extrapolate that to therefore they're going to do all sorts of other things, again, seems a little disproportionate for me. To build on Councilmember Serbo, I looked down this list, and I think that staff had highlighted, and they're highlighted on the screen, it's this compatibility, general welfare, and it seems like compatibility is the issue that is the one that we're focused on. The use will not create significant noise, traffic, or other conditions that may be objectionable, detrimental, or incompatible with other uses in the vicinity. I'm not sure I've heard that. If somebody can present that to me, I'm open to hearing it. But it creates noise. I haven't heard anybody mention noise. Traffic, well, we want commerce. We want traffic. We want people to come and use the businesses. So traffic in and of itself isn't disqualifying. Other conditions we can discuss. Objectionable, detrimental, or incompatible. I don't find noise traffic to be objectionable or detrimental or incompatible. It's a commercial business. It's what they do. They want people to come and go. In this case, to the comments made earlier, it seems like it's going to be a relatively small number. I could understand more if we thought there were going to be numbers as there were with the marijuana dispensaries, which probably had large numbers of people coming and going the whole time. Nobody's presented any information that I've heard that speaks to the large volume of vehicles that are going to show up going in and out. Nobody's presented that information to me. And so for those reasons, I'm struggling as Councilmember Serbo to deny it because I have nothing to hang my hat on that I can see. And again, I'm not prepared to condemn these people or deny something because of the behavior of others. That seems disproportionate and inappropriate, frankly. I'm open to discussion further. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Ron, what's the hours of massage parlor generally operate around the city? Generally speaking, the business hours of the massage parlors.
Limits massage establishments to, I believe, 9 p.m. is the closing time, and the opening time, I believe, is 7 a.m., but I need to, I think I have that in the report here somewhere.
So this business proposed open between 10 to 7, Monday through Friday, and the 9 to 2 o'clock.
That's right. They're proposing to close 2 hours earlier than the code would otherwise require.
Okay, so this part of the CUP, right? Will we enforce on that if they close later than 7?
That's right.
Yeah, I truly believe, I mean, a legitimate massage parlor place like this one, I don't even think it should, categorize as a massage parlor. I mean, it basically it's a personal care place, but it's a good therapeutic place, and it's a place of peace, recovery, and quietness. I think by the facts I have here, if the applicant operate on that, it would be truly a peaceful place, and the business come into the neighborhood, and it will be good for all the neighborhood. And also, I read the application there. So, does the applicant speak English?
He does, yes.
So he communicate with you guys. Did you invite him or her to the hearing today?
I did. The applicant attended each of the planning commission meetings, and we did have a conversation in advance of this meeting, and I sent him the notice, and I expected him to be here. I'm not sure why he's not in attendance.
Thank you.
And just to confirm, it is 7 a.m., the earliest that massage establishments may open per the code.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? So I've said my piece. I think the residents spoke their piece. And, you know, I did think it was odd that somebody who doesn't live in this city is trying to tell us how we should do things in this city. And the residents who live close by are the ones that should be heard. But I'll entertain a motion.
And just to be clear, if we vote in the affirmative, then we're approving the use permit. Is that correct? Versus a no vote would mean deny. The way that it's written.
That's correct. A yes vote is approving the use permit with the resolution included with the staff report. A no vote is denying the use permit.
Thank you.
Oh, I need a little clarification here. What happens if it's a 2-2 vote?
A 2-2 vote results in something called the status quo ante. It's a fancy term for what's in place right now remains in place, which is a 3-2 vote from the Planning Commission.
I have a question. What was the original staff recommendation on this item the very first time it came forward?
Councilman Temmer, the original staff recommendation was for approval.
So staff's original recommendation to approve, the Planning Commission denied it, and then subsequent conversations approved it on 3-2. But staff's original recommendation was to approve this application.
Correct. The draft resolution for approval that's part of the council's package is the same resolution that was presented to the commission initially and which ultimately ended up being their action.
Okay, I'll move the item as listed in item number 13.
They've got an approval and a denial. Which one do you want?
I'm sorry, say it again.
There's an approval and a denial on there. They've got them both. You said as it's listed, there's two things that you could either go with the approval or denying.
Well, as I read, it says use permit to establish a massage at the establishment. So that's, I'm moving the item for approval of the use permit.
The recommendation is an or.
Okay, let's see the recommendation here.
So the first, if I may, the first
go ahead.
recommendation, a resolution of City Council to operate a massage establishment in an existing tenant space.
I will second the motion.
Well, hold on, I'm just stating that the first one, the second one is to deny. So the first one is to approve, the second one is to deny.
So we're voting on two things.
No, you get a cafeteria style. You get to choose which one you want to put forward to approve or
Okay.
deny. Is that, I don't want to speak.
My motion is to move forward with an approval of the use permit.
There we go.
I will second the motion.
All right, let's vote.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, but
I'll close the
if you wouldn't mind to close the hearing, thank you so much.
I will now close the meeting.
And that motion passes 3-1-1 with Mayor Pro Tem Pequeños voting no and Mayor Voigt's absent.
All right, that'll move us to items discussions 14 and 15. Madam City Clerk, can you read item number 14?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. The title of item number 14 is Branding Implementation for the Potential 2027 Rose Parade Float.
Okay, thank you. Madam City Manager, can you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We have a presentation by Assistant to the City Manager, Nydia Ruelas.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council. This item is to discuss the city's branding implementation and the possibility of participating in the 2027 Tournament of Roses Parade as part of this implementation. At the July 1st City Council meeting, staff and JPW Communications presented this new city brand you see here. Informed through a research effort based on significant public input, the city logo embraces the unique attributes of the city, such as the Saddleback Mountains and a prominent natural motif. In these variations, we can see the color palette rooted in green, blue, and gold, as well as a monogram version that prominently features the mountain element. As the city looks to implement the new brand, here are some of the projects budgeted over the next 2-year period to gradually introduce the brand into the community. Street banners include the design, production, and installation of street banners with the new logo along arterial streets such as Rockfield Boulevard and Portola Parkway. The 35th anniversary event would host an event celebrating the city's 35th anniversary of incorporation. A public photo contest would host a contest to showcase the new city brand and tagline. And also, as part of the capital improvement plan, we've included a Lake Forest branding and entryway monuments project, which would change the 2 arbor signs at El Toro and Rockfield to Lake Forest signs with the monogram version of the logo, and install new monuments in areas entering the city. So next, to give a little bit of background, the Strategic Economic Investment Program, or SEEP, spending plan identified $500,000 for branding implementation in addition to the budgeted initiatives that we talked about in the previous slides. When it was set aside in the SEEP spending plan, no funding was appropriated for branding implementation. The following options and this discussion tonight will include estimates and details for different branding implementation projects. One option for implementation would be the city's participation in the 2027 Tournament of Roses Parade. Okay. The Rose Parade is an annual and wide-reaching regional event that is nationally televised and draws about 700,000 to 800,000 live spectators and a worldwide viewership. Participation in the Rose Parade would also bring the opportunity to engage the community through various volunteer events, excursions, and sponsorships. To provide some background as to the process of having a float, the application process would likely begin in early 2026 and would require the city to have the budget appropriated prior to that in order to apply and be considered for entry. The minimum cost of having a Rose Parade float is $385,000. While this amount covers the basic aspects of having a Rose Parade float, it does not include fees associated for upgraded elements or enhancements to a float that may be desirable. Overall, an estimate of event costs, including several community events and event marketing, is estimated to cost nearly $443,000. This would utilize most of the $500,000 set aside in the SEEP spending plan for brand implementation. Additional considerations include indirect costs, such as staff time to lead and manage the project, department involvement and staff requirements to coordinate events, help with marketing, and assist with public outreach and sponsorships, as well as potential conflicts with existing city events, such as the tree lighting ceremony and a 35th anniversary celebration event. To provide a general timeline, the process for designing and constructing a parade float would take about a year. The process would also require staff managing the project to spend anywhere from 15 to 100% of their time working on it to ensure it proceeds smoothly. While a Rose Parade float is one option, staff have listed additional options and costs for City Council consideration. The City Council may also direct staff to investigate and present additional or alternative concepts and ideas, as this list is not meant to be exhaustive for brand implementation. Here we have an option to update the city's wayfinding signs. There are currently about 24 wayfinding signs throughout the city, and the cost to replace them would be approximately $7,000 and would feature the new city brand. Also, as an example, would be the possibility of integrating the brand in public art installations. So here we have two proposed areas. One would be the overhang wall at the top of that area. So that's the top left picture at the Sports Park Recreation Building. And the second one would be the wall by the parking structure where those stairs are. And so the murals could feature stylized brand elements, and the cost of these types of murals would vary based on size, paint materials, and medium. We have some example of murals on the side. Next, we have options for the installation of banners for neighborhood parks. These would install banners at renovated neighborhood parks. We also included an option for banners or signs at City Hall that would be placed in shared spaces at City Hall and detailed the brand narrative behind the new city's brand. An additional idea brought forth would be promoting the city regionally and beyond. And one such way would be by purchasing ads in journals or publications such as the OC Business Council, Orange County Business Journal, Trade and Industry Magazine, among others. And we've included a $20,000 budget for that, but everything varies based on the particular publication. Or updating the city's economic development display with the new brand. And this option, this display is prominently featured in several business events throughout the city and would be taken to showcased at the International Council of Shopping Centers conference that happens each year. The recommended action for tonight is to exercise City Council discretion regarding additional programming options for the citywide rollout of the brand and further actions to initiate the planning process to participate in the 2027 Tournament of Roses Parade. Following the discussion, staff will bring back a final spending plan for adoption and the allocation of funds based on City Council direction. This concludes my presentation. I am happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you, Nadia. Before we do that, Madam City Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
We do. We have 3 public commenters on this item.
Okay.
Our first public commenter is Reed Buck.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem McCain and council members and staff. First off, side note, but I just really appreciated Councilmember Tedimer and Serbo's robust defense of not smearing an entire business industry by the actions of some unsavory people. So thank you all for your fair consideration of that. I can't say that I live in that area, and I can't say that I know the implications of it, but I really appreciate that just as a general principle. Last time I was here in this room, I was protesting the removal of $5,000 from the budget of the Boys and Girls Club, which I found was a defunding of an already fairly significantly small budget, and I was fairly frustrated about that. To then see a $443,000 desire to put a parade float feels like it flies in the face and disrespects groups like the Boys and Girls Club. I am aware that funding is discretionary. I'm aware that things can't be shifted around in that way, but a parade float is It's a choice. I went to the last parade just last year, 2024 Tournament of Roses parade. I watched all the beautiful parades go by, and I watched all the marching bands. I could not tell you a single benefactor, a single group of people who sponsored any of those parade floats. So at least from one resident, it's a hard no on this one. I think there are so many beautiful ways to brand our city from our city. I particularly like the idea of implementation of murals and visuals within this city. I like the idea of, branding in a variety of ways, but a parade float seems like an exorbitant cost for what amounts to a name appearing on television for a second. And I guess I'm not an economist. I don't know what kind of money that draws in, but I can't imagine it would be worth the money. Personally. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And our next public commenter is Andrew O'Connor.
Council, you guys are so disconnected. I just can't. You just spent $90,000 with Cosmont, okay? And what did that bring you? Absolutely nothing, okay? You're talking about branding. Do you know how upset people are up in Foothill Ranch that we have 2 thrift stores coming in? Thrift store next to the Bank of America, Salvation Army. Now the 99-cent store is going to be a thrift store. You're talking about branding the community, okay? You're going to tear down the Loan Depot office building and put in, we don't know what, some kind of apartments, low income, we don't know. You're going to tear that down? You're tearing down the Panasonic headquarters to put a 24/7, 365 distribution center, and you want to brand the city? You guys are all over the place on your development. 18 massage parlors, and if you looked at them, they're all in your district. Mayor Pro Tem, they're all down D5. I don't know how we look at Baker Ranch, with all the Chinese birthing houses in there, how we consider that, but there's something going on there. Once upon a time, there was Family Time Resorts, LLC, operated by our good friend here, Mr. Yu. Okay? It's a fact, Mr. Yu. It's a fact. So you're talking about branding, and then you're going to spend $400,000 on a float that disappears, will not move the needle? It's going to be the silliest thing I've ever seen you guys spend money on. And then 4th of July, all the fireworks that were going off there on Raymond Avenue, that Mr. Johnson sent a detailed email that you guys ignored again to him. And the Saguaro Street is a mess.
Mr. O'Connor, stick to the item.
I'm talking about the item because it's this overall thing. You're talking about how to brand the city. And then you're going to spend $700,000 on 2 monument signs? Holy smokes. You guys are...
Thank you.
And our last public commenter on this item is Ted Pearl.
Hello, Ted.
Good evening, everybody. I'm a 31-year homeowner here in Lake Forest, and $400,000 is a lot of money. I don't know what I and the residents of Costa Bella Drive and the neighborhood around us will get from this rebranding, and I don't really want to rain on your parade, so to speak. Pardon the pun, but I think a good amount of money can be defrayed by putting the float to the public in terms of subscription. We have a population here in Lake Forest of over 85,000 people. About 30,000 are under the age of 24, which gives us a pretty fair number, 55,000 people who may work. Of these people, there must be at least 5,000 people who can subscribe $80 a pop. We subscribe to build this float just like the Green Bay Packers did in Green Bay to sell a National Football League team to the public, where the public became the team owner, in effect, by buying stock shares. We can make the city really proud. We can rebrand the city by making the people who donate, and by extrapolation, making all the people of Lake Forest proud owners of this float. As I said, $80 times 50,000 or whatever people wish to give. And yes, there will be expenses with that. But those expenses, such as, let's say, certificates of appreciation, maybe a free trip to the parade, maybe even a ride on the float, I believe will cost less than the cost of the float as projected tonight. So that's an idea. I hope you take it under consideration. And while I'm here, I want to thank those people who spoke up for immigrants. My grandparents were immigrants, so I know what it's like because I heard their stories. I know what it's like for people to come here wanting and needing a better life for their children and their families. I am the second generation product of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it, Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, I'll bring it back.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Well, full disclosure, I've actually marched in the Tournament Roses Parade 5 times. 4 times in the Marine Corps and then once in a high school band back in 1970, back then. And it was a tremendous experience. So selfishly, gosh, would I love to have a float in the Tournament of Roses Parade? Would that be a great legacy for me? But I'm also a guy about return on investment. So I know branding a lot of times is hard for us to understand what the value of that would return to us. So I like the idea of it. The cost is somewhat something I'm kind of fighting, with here. So I appreciate the presentation, Idia, about maybe some of the options in there. But I just wanted to mention that aspect in terms of, my heart says one thing and other parts might say another thing. So thank you.
Councilmember Tenemer.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So I think I might have first introduced this into the world, maybe in my incoming mayor's comments, and saying sort of as an aspirational goal that we would see if this is something the community had an interest in doing. I haven't heard a lot of I've heard a few negatives, but I haven't heard a lot of people coming up to me and said, yes, please sign us up. I will say that in conversations with cities very close by that have done it, they, to pick up on the last commenter's comments, it was absolutely a thing that united the community. If you were to talk to the people that did this, they said this was a wonderful thing that brought the community together because they could find ways to help fundraise and do other things so it could become a community event. And that was certainly in my heart when I said that I thought this would be a wonderful thing, a stretch goal, an aspirational goal, that we would find a way to, the city's sort of maturation coupled with an opportunity to bring the community together. All corners of the community, anybody who wants to join, let's do it. I can appreciate that it's an expensive endeavor. My hope, if I were to design it myself, would be that we would start by trying to see what the community had an appetite for in terms of fundraising at the individual level, at the corporate level, and all the rest to defray costs. But I realize that's a very complicated and time-consuming thing, and while I appreciate that 55,000 people could give $80 and we'd be done, I think we'd be hard-pressed to get 55,000 people to give that, or even close to that. So it's important to be realistic about what's possible. So, I look forward to hearing from my other colleagues. I think it would be a wonderful thing to do. In my heart, it was really meant to feature what I had heard from other cities about how this brings people together and unites them around a common cause and a common project. The stories I heard about the residents who did all sorts of fundraising along the way, as well as took buses up to go decorate the float and a bunch of other things. Nothing but positive comments about how it really helped unite the city around a cause. Yes, it's a one-time event. I would not be advocating to do this on a regular basis, but it seems like it's too heavy a lift, and I'll look forward to hearing from my colleagues that have not spoken yet, but just wanted to share what was in my heart when I thought this would be a wonderful aspirational goal. I did not think it would get to the kind of money that's being talked about now, and so maybe inflation and other things have taken this in a direction that was beyond what I saw, but again, it was meant to be a stretch and a way to bring the community together. I'll look forward to hearing from my colleagues.
All right. For the full disclosure, I've been to the Rose Parade twice, and I'm personally not impressed. Both times, I pretty much have frozen to death. From a professional standpoint, I just see it's not a good match. I mean, we are proud to be a safe family bedroom community. We do not have to spend our valuable taxpayer dollars to promote the city for more residents to gentrify our city. And I go over the list. Pretty much the only thing I'm impressed with is the banners. And from my standpoint, we are proud to be a conservative city, and the best action is no action here. So I'm pretty much a no on this item. Thank you.
All right, so I too think that a float is a great idea. I do not want to spend, well, like my good friend Ted Pearl brought up, I would love it if we could find sponsorships. I saw the price tag and I was like, man, Kavanaugh Park could really use some of that money. I know it's one-time money, but that the price tag did give me sticker shock. And I would rather see that spent on the branding. The thing that got me is the parade's a year and a half away. We might be on a different brand by then. So it's too far away from me. And do we get to keep the float?
I don't know. I don't know. I think they recycle those materials.
Well, why don't they recycle our money then?
Yeah.
I mean, if we can't keep the float, what are we paying for? It's a lot of money. And like I said, when I first heard it, I thought, hey, let's see if we can get sponsorships. However, maybe we'll put a bunch of leaves on there and people can pay for the leaf. They pay. Ted's going to $80. Ted, I would have went 100. But hey, you can put your business. Each business puts whatever, and then maybe the city will kick in some. But that's pretty high. So, but I do like everything else that you recommended. And the thing that really got my attention too, if you can go back to slide number 10. So this one, you're saying 70, how much % of your time it would take?
So in this staff report, I listed a range ranging from 15%, like during the early stages, to 100% in the days and weeks leading up to the
And so what do you do? What do you do when you're not doing this? A lot of other stuff, right?
Several projects, yes.
So you'd be out of Deborah's use. So like I said, I like the idea. When I first heard it, I was like, yeah. When I saw the price tag, I'm like, eh. So that's all. Like I said, if we can spend the money on swag, and I appreciate Doug, doing that a whole bunch of time. My wife used to go to the parade. I'm not originally from California, and I made it a point to not like anything when it comes to the parade. So anyway.
One final comment, thanks, Mayor Pro Tem. If this ultimately goes down that we're not going to go this route, and just thinking, have we investigated talking and reaching out with our economic development, with maybe Adrian, and talking to the people like Oakley and some of the other prominent businesses here to support something like this? Have we done that at all, getting an appetite from them?
So the city currently has a sponsorship program, and so any research that we've done has been based on current sponsorships that we get, and on average we've gotten like $30,000 a year. So that's kind of like the number that we were thinking we would get that would help with this. Even in talking to other cities that have done this, it didn't really go much beyond.
So corporate
that amount.
sponsors don't come up with $100,000 to put up a float for the city or something. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That helps me. Thanks.
All right, I'll entertain the motion.
Motion to move this forward. Okay, let's see. Potential Rose Parade float, branding implementation. I'm going to move that we not move
Okay.
No, I'm not entertaining having us investigate corporate sponsorship.
I'm talking about, how about the,
Other items.
maybe the other items that are on there? Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may. Can we bifurcate this in this discussion to make it easier since we're not making a very convoluted thing?
Yeah, what I'd like to suggest, really, we were looking for direction on the float. You know, the more time we had, if you wanted to go that direction, we wanted to start right away. So what I would suggest is you have us come up with a budget and more refined numbers and a package, and we present that to the audit committee to have kind of first eyes on it. And then based on their feedback, we'd bring something to the council, like this would be the implementation budget beyond what you've already budgeted.
But I think there's a desire to resolve the float issue is all you're really looking for tonight?
That was the big thing tonight, yeah.
Okay.
And then if there's anything else you wanted us to investigate that you didn't see on this list, it would be good to throw it out now and we could start researching.
So I'll make it, maybe I'll make it easy, I don't know. How about if we just receive and file?
Yes, with the expectation that this will come back to the audit committee.
Right, but I'm saying receive and file, we're not taking any further action on the float, and you're going to come back to audit with the other elements. Is that?
I'll second that
I'm getting
motion.
a thumbs up. Just receive and file.
Alrighty. So let me catch up on my notes here. Next item is item number 15. Madam City Clerk, please read the title of item 15.
Yes, the title of item number 15 is the Capital Improvement Plan Update.
Thank you. Mr. Buck, sorry, hold on a second. Can you leave your phone number here, please, for us? For me? Yes, just give it to the clerk. I'm sorry about that. Madam City Manager, can you please introduce the item?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We have a first-time presenter tonight. Our Principal Civil Engineer, Joe Claudio, is going to go through our Capital Improvement Program update.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the City Council, city staff. My name is Joe Claudio, and this evening I'll be presenting an update on the city's Capital Improvement Program, or CIP, for the second quarter of 2025. Now, as the end of the second quarter coincided with the end of the city's fiscal year, this will be the last update on the city's fiscal year 2023 to 2025 CIP. Now, generally speaking, there are 5 categories of projects that make up the CIP: parks and recreation, traffic, streets, environmental, and facilities projects. The 23-25 CIP included 70 projects with a total budget of $36 million. Now, for my update tonight, I'll be starting with the projects completed, then moving into projects in construction, projects in pre-construction, design, and finally pre-design. In the second quarter, we completed the construction of the Alton Parkway Traffic Signal Synchronization Program. We also completed the conference room teams upgrades throughout the Civic Center campus. There were several park projects completed, including the Pittsford Park shade structure renovation, and we restriped the existing basketball courts at Foothill Ranch, Baker Ranch, and Borrego Park, and the existing tennis court at Pittsford Park to accommodate pickleball courts. Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, funding was used to complete the Audible Pedestrian Signals project. Phase 4 upgraded 18 intersections with new ADA-accessible crosswalk buttons. Now, this slide shows a sampling of major projects previously completed in 2025. Those were presented in more detail to you in previous CIP updates. In summary, staff completed 36 CIP projects, equating to a $19.5 million investment in the community. Now moving into projects in construction. The Zone D asphalt repairs project is substantially complete and is just wrapping up some final punch list items with IRWD. As depicted on these zone photos, staff was able to apply and add a full-width asphalt overlay over the entire stretch of Cañada Road from Lake Forest Drive to Dimension Drive. The installation of the city's new street name signs is also complete. Staff is just awaiting for the final invoice from the contractor in order to close out this project. Now, both the Baker Ranch Community Park Turf Replacement Project and the El Toro Irrigation Conservation Project have been completed, with the notice of completion for the El Toro project being brought to council this evening. The good news is that the city will be reimbursed an estimated $77,000 in grant funding from the Metropolitan Water District for the El Toro project. Lake Forest Transportation Mitigation, or LIFTM, funds are being used to construct the 3 intersection improvement projects listed on this slide. The 3 projects were bundled and awarded as a single construction contract. The widening of southbound Geronimo from Lake Forest Drive to Thrush is nearly complete, and the entire construction contract should be complete later this fall. Both the Bake and Rockfield TSSP and the Portola Santa Margarita TSSP projects are currently under construction. The contractor for the Bake Tribuco intersection widening project is currently potholing for existing utilities, and construction is expected to start later this fall. The 5 projects shown here are in various stages of construction at the moment. The Sports Park Synthetic Turf Replacement Project is complete, and the notice of completion should be brought to council in the next few weeks. Hopefully, we'll be able to play a short video that basically explains the process.
Lake Forest is investing in the future with 70 capital improvement projects and $36 million dedicated to parks, streets, and public spaces. One major upgrade is the full replacement of the synthetic turf fields at the Lake Forest Sports Park. Before installation, crews regraded the base to ensure a level and stable foundation that will last over a decade. The new turf is made of safe and durable polyethylene with recycled rubber infill to provide better cushioning and protection for athletes. After nearly 12 years of heavy use, the updated fields are now open and ready for summer games. Lake Forest is building better spaces for our community.
For economies of scale. The bid opening is scheduled for tomorrow, July 16th. And for all the pickleball players out there, we will be constructing 2 new pickleball courts to replace the existing sand volleyball court at El Toro Park. The construction at El Toro Park is anticipated to begin later this fall. We have 9 projects in design currently. 4 projects have traffic improvement design features for our residents. And the next 4 park projects listed are in various stages of design. On the street improvement side, we are working on the arterial wall enhancement project in southwest Lake Forest. Lastly, we have 4 projects that are in the preliminary design phase. These 4 projects are still in the planning phase, and staff plans to initiate the design of these projects once the ongoing projects have been completed. As council may be aware, the protected permissive left turn project is currently on hold pending the implementation of the Alton Parkway TSSP project. Staff anticipates returning with an update on this project in March of 2026. In summary, we completed 36 projects, with 16 projects in different phases of construction, 5 projects in pre-construction, 9 in design, and 4 projects in pre-design. This concludes my update, and I'll do my best to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you. Before we ask questions, Madam City Clerk, do we have any speakers?
We did have one submission, but I believe that public commenter has left. So we do not have any public comments for this item.
All righty, staff or colleagues? Well, I do have something. Go back to your first slide, please, or your first or second slide. Go back one more.
Sorry.
Right there. So your very first thing caught my attention. 27 parks have been hit, and I know that Kavanaugh Park is it's being looked at, but I find it funny that Baker Ranch is a brand new park. It's getting redone, but Kavanaugh Park's been there forever, and it's on hold. What my request is that once we do get it moving, that we move it to get it done pretty quick, because the people that live there already have to go through everything they have to go through. And then if you've ever been to that park and you've seen that outstanding child's slide that they have there, 5-year-olds can't even get on there. So I'd like for that park to get moved to the top, because it's just atrocious. So this is receiving files, so I don't think we have any questions. So thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right, so that takes us to the city's manager report. Madam City Manager, do you have anything to report?
I have nothing further this evening.
Thank you. We'll go to council comments. Councilmember Serbo.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just 3 quick things. The 4th of July parade was another fantastic event. We had some great, attendance from some of our local other dignitaries, such as Diane Dixon, and we had young Kim, attracted them to us. And then it was great seeing Bob Dunnick, our previous city manager, as the Grand Marshal. So great day for that, fun time, lots of people. Even had 3 people I haven't seen in years come out and come up to the car and get a picture of me. So that was really fun. Just a quick promotion again. Jonathan Volsky mentioned that we're having an event at Portola Park this Saturday from 9 until noon, and this is a wildfire awareness preparation pop-up, and we're going to have Orange County Fire Authority, we're going to have Orange County Sheriff Department, we're going to have the California Department of Insurance. We'll do a presentation at 11 o'clock, so for those people that are concerned that now we're on the fire severity map, we're in the red zone, we're going to have this event on Saturday, and we're going to have another one on August the 9th in Borrego Park. So a couple of important things for our community to come and attend, get information, be fire aware, and be ready to ready, set, go, as we had our earlier presentation. And then finally, for a few people that are still here, maybe ones that are watching online, I have the knock-knock joke of the night, which is that we don't have any knock-knock jokes for America because freedom rings. That's all I have, Mayor Pro Tem.
Ouch. Councilmember Teddemer.
Not even going to try. I just want to thank staff for a great parade. Had a great time. As always, it's great to see so many familiar faces there on the parade route, and a great turnout always. So thanks, staff, for a great parade.
Councilmember, you.
I comments of Councilmember Tadmer and Serbo, and nothing further. Thank you.
Yep. So another great 4th of July parade. Thanks, staff. Nydia, great job on the thing. I saw you do a little dance as you're going up there when the thing went, the float went away. I would like to thank Courtney Wiskowski and Laura Hunter for doing a great job on the 4th of July. And for the last couple of months, I've been neglecting to tell Jonathan he's done a great job. You up there, Jonathan, somewhere? So with that, I'm going to adjourn.